Good morning, everybody. Just getting everything set up here. Can't even see people's comments yet, if they're commenting at all. Alright, let's get our monitor set up here. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, we should be good to go. Alright. Get Sarah all mic'd up. Now, we're going to be doing a few things today, but for the most part, we're going to be lining out. Oh, go get the calipers, both sets of calipers off the desk.
Okay.
Lining out full profile of this bad boy. Edge geometry, blade geometry, handle geometry, every geometry known to man, because not only do we have to have the geometry of our blade here and the edge geometry, but we also have to determine the handle geometry, right? You can do a couple things with these. You know, you can make them thin and tall, like, you know, a fixed blade. You could, you know, round them off and make them feel more like, you know, the hidden tang that they are, or, you know, have more of that kitchen knife look. You know, if we contoured all of our and beveled all the corners on here and made it match up cylindrically back towards the pommel, that's very kitchen knife-esque. I'm kind of leaning towards, you know, we don't have a super tall freaking bolster area here, which is fine. You know, we could go relatively thin up here, but we're gonna find our center line first. We kind of have a center line in here, but we're gonna find a good grind center line. And how I do that is on an unground blade.
Couldn't find the other ones. I'm gonna go look again.
Okay.
Yeah, because it wasn't on your desk, which is weird.
On an unground blade, let's zero this out. So we are sitting at roughly 0.2435 at the tip. 0.2775 at the center of the blade, and right up next to where our bolster is, we're at 0.3100. That's on the spine side. 2475 is on the tip on the edge side. 2815 generally in the center. Let's go back here a little bit. 282, and back here 0.3065. All right, and we're not centered. Our bolster's not centered, but we'll measure our bolster here. We're 0.7385 on that on the spine side, and 0.7375 on the edge side. All right, so nice little caliper readings there. Do I need to remember any of that stuff? No. Do you need to remember any of that stuff? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So what we do need to go do though is we're going to find center line. Now I normally don't grind like this, but we're going to, because this is a pretty important piece to us. So I'm going to take, and I can't even read the writing on these things, on these drill bits are so dang small. So I believe this is a 1/64th. No, 17/64 blade or bit. It's slightly smaller than our blade. All right, so it's slightly smaller. Now we could go exactly center on this. Oh, I go get I think this is a 3/8. So this is a 6/32. We're gonna grab over here. So I'm gonna grab this 6/32. Well, we're almost there. Now I could do the conversion charts. Hand me the drill bit set for the measurements we just took, but what would the fun of that be? Because I don't want to do the conversion charts.
And here's the other one. It's right here.
Okay.
And then I found some of your stuff, your soapstone.
Not quite. Not quite there yet. Okay, so we need a little bit bigger. I'm just basically putting these next to each other because that's sitting flat on here, and we're just going up in size until we have one that matches. That's real close, because I think the next one's gonna be too big. Maybe not. That one right there looks pretty. That one is 11. Is it 11? Yeah, 11/32. So 11/32. We're quite a bit bigger than 1/4 inch. Well, not quite a bit bigger than 1/4 inch. Is that? No, you can't even see the blade, that bit right there. At least you can a little bit close to the tip, but that's not that big a deal. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna scribe a center line on this. I don't know if you guys can see that. I can see it. That's the important part. And you gotta do it on both sides, because you don't know. You don't know if it's square, super flat, super even. So we're going to just mark it on both sides. And we got a little bit off there when it goes out to there, it looks like. This is why we do this though. This is why we scribe from both sides. Oh yeah. You really see that mark here. Comes back in here pretty good. That's okay though. We're a little thicker down here. You know, a little thinner out there. So it's gonna kind of widen out. But that's okay. That is a-okay. That at least gives us like left and right. Well, left and right. You know, our outer limits. Minimum outer limits. Now we're going to go for a maximum outer limit here. Which one? This one. I think we're going to use this one right here. We're going to mark it just a little mark back here. See what that one tells us. Pretty close to it. Yeah, that one just gives us a better look at that one just is giving us a better minimum back here because the lines start to converge back here with that 11/32. So this gives us a more general, we can get our taper off the spine towards the edge this way, and then we can start getting our taper that way. So we know we want to basically make these lines disappear down here but still see them back here. Make sense? Clear as mud? Sweet.
Does to me.
Okay, so we're gonna keep all these drill bits out right now. And yes, I could go get a big block, nice flat marble. Get one of those freaking scribing gauges that goes up and down. And eventually we will. But for right now, we are doing what we're doing. Now, I can't read one of these freaking old school dials to save my freaking life. Like, not happening. So I have a digital readout one there, but this one I'll scribe with for right now. Its noses are pretty well worn down, but it's not too bad. We can still do a pretty good job scribing with. I don't want to scribe with my brand new one yet. It's just a Pittsburgh, but still, it's brand new. So I want to keep it in somewhat of a working order. Harbor Freight special, but so is this one. All right. So we have our marks. Now we know that we're going to carry this thing back. So we have our thickness here, and now we just need to have that thickness. You could do a fancy little measurement, or you could just eyeball it like I do and call it good. You're like, but Nathan, what's the point of measuring it if you're just gonna eyeball it? Well, I'm not really measuring it with this guy. I'm measuring it with this guy. I'm just eyeball scribing with this guy, right? And we're just trying to get somewhat of a center line here on the, and that's not even hard enough to do anything with. Just want to get a center line on our spine side. Let's see where our our big bit comes out with on that one. How close to the line we are. I'm gonna go with a little smaller bit here. Let's go on this one. Oh, we're pretty close. Pretty close. Pretty close. Pretty close. Pretty close. You can see as it starts to widen out here, right here at the back. So that's why we get this delineation. That's the right word? Let me look it up.
I don't know.
Delineation. Definition of delineation. All right, this is delineation, and we are separating the lines, the delineation lines. So it was kind of correct, but my brain wanted to use a $10 word, and it was still only on the $2 understanding this morning. So.
It's still early.
Let's see here. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back. We need to somehow, we got this fat piece in here, and it's not flat, right? This fat little bolster in here, it's not flat. We do have a center line here that we can realistically carry backwards through our bolster into our tang. Now, is that tang fully in line enough with the blade to where we can freaking grind? We have to, that tells, basically putting this in, it tells us how much to take off thickness wise to make sure our center lines are exactly the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, keeping this guy on my anvil as much as possible. Now we're also assuming that this anvil's flat, which it's close. It's very flat. It's very flat for a nice old anvil. Very, very flat. I'm going to come in here like this. I'm going to mark that line going through there. We're pretty damn close with our forging straightness. Pretty damn close. All right, we can at least extrapolate a center line off of that. Remember, this thing's getting thicker as it comes back towards from the tip to the bolster. It's getting thicker. The thickest part of that obviously is the bolster, but the thickest part off the center line, you know, if we carried this through with that same thick, would be right around in here. This tang part is actually the thickest part. So if I really want to try and get a good center line here, I gotta come in here pretty steeply, go completely flat with our piece out here. See how it wants to move on me? Back it. Keep this portion up next to bolster away from the freaking anvil. Come in here and just scribe that in. That's enough. We got enough of a freaking line through there for us to really make a determination on where our lines are going to be when we come on this side. Now I'm going to just take that same bit and do some lines here real quick and see where how far off we are. We're pretty close. I mean, it's not too bad. This tapers real drastically on the tang. So we don't want to take a bunch off the tang if we don't have to. That one's lining up better. That's pretty good. If I'm not really gonna look here, right, where our lines freaking come apart. What I'm doing is I'm trying to line up this single line here. And this is the spine side. So this portion's really only about lining up, making sure that we're good to go on, you know, is the tang in line with the blade. Man, you can really see that pretty good up there.
Yeah, you can. You can see the line really well. It's nice.
See that really nice. I could barely see it here. It's good that you guys can see it. That's why I'm always like, I'm like squinting at this thing, and well, you guys can't see I'm squinting. But yeah, and we're not going to make this tang's not going to be super long. So, all right, now we need to start laying out. The tang's important here. The tang is super important. And the reason the tang is super important, because this has already been hardened and tempered, right? So we have to do a burn-in on our stock, on our handle material, handle stock. But we can't do a burn-in with the knife. So we have to get this tang exactly the way we want it, and then we have to recreate the tang in thickness, in height, length, and then we can freaking do a burn-in on our piece, right? Once we get all of this in here, our bolster shoulders, everything lined up. Now, I'm gonna go take, and we're going to then scribe the center line on the edge side. This is predominantly the side we're going to see when we're grinding. Oh shit, you can really see that really.
Yeah,
nice.
no, it's really good.
Really, really good. Now, this is where it gets kind of weird, because this is a compound angle here. Now, if you're unfamiliar what compound angle is, multifaceted, multi-angle, multi-directional, because it was just a quick little profile grind. And since the monitor up here can see it better, I'm gonna wait till it catches up.
Yeah.
To see where we're at here. I mean, that's really close. It's close enough for what we need to start marking this stuff all out. So this part of our blade has already been blued. So we've already had our bluing on it. Now we need to loosen this guy back up, and we're going to come off of, I mean, that's still real close. Might just keep that route, and we'll see what we have for our center line here. We can get, well, if I didn't screw it up. Good thing is this is really easy to redo. If you do screw it up, got a little jig jag there, but we're not going to worry about that. We'll just ignore that, act like it didn't happen.
How do you fix it? Do you just put more bluing on it?
No, you don't need to fix it. It's just a little jig jag.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you really royally mess up, you just put more.
It's not that big a deal. You can see it on the monitor up there. It's not that big a deal. So it allowed us to darken that up. So we are really close. So if I take this, knowing that this is the center line for the tang and the blade, roughly, and I roughly just scribe some lines here. This will tell me generally how much I want to take off. I mean, not completely, but it'll be close. It'll give me an idea at least. Let's wait for that to catch up so we can see if we can see that.
Good morning. It's glad to see you.
Oh, we're doing well.
Us.
Hope you're doing well. You can't really see that well.
No.
But we're getting the lines on there. They're just barely there. This is going to give us an idea of where we need to take this down to, the bolster, because we don't want it super thick. You know, unless we were wanting, I really don't want a lot of weight in this thing, right? So what we're trying to do here is take down, figure out our left and right, what we need to take off to kind of shore this all up, because it is slightly, this bolster is thicker on one side than the other. All right. And as long as we have our center line here, now if we come off our, this is the center line from the tang and the blade, right? They're not deep. So we're going to come now off the center line from the actual bolster, bisecting that centerpiece there. All right. And then we're going to split the difference. I'm going to have that. To just check. How close were we? I mean, that's real close. So if I come off of here and we just make a little rub mark there, and we make a little rub mark there, where are we in relation to everything else? Well, it checks out pretty good, not too bad. This side, I believe, we aren't too bad right here. Not bad at all. Now, can we take a piece and come in here? Look at that. Wasn't that lucky?
Wow.
So we take a piece, come in here with that bit. Scratch that in just a little bit more. These are just guidelines. That's all they are. They're just guidelines. They're not definites. Nothing super flat yet. But we can darken those babies up there quite a bit. Well, let's let our feed catch up here a little bit so I can get a look at those lines on the monitor. That's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. For what we want it to be right now, that's looking pretty good. We aren't going to take these flats down until we get our scoops, our scallops, our transition grinds right in here. This transition grind from the bolster to the blade is an extreme compound grind, because not only is it transitioning into the spine, into a flat, but it's a transition off the bolster at an angle down towards the blade. So you're not only coming flat straight across, you're transitioning this way. You're coming across the blade when we're grinding this. Bam, 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 and you're always moving towards. You're coming off the bolster towards the edge, towards the edge, towards the edge, because this is all going to be ground right here. So we're going to grind this portion first, get it all freaking have the correct geometry to it, and then we're going to come in and grind to the bolster so that when it comes off of here, it's a smooth transition in here, but it's tapered towards the edge and the tip. This whole blade geometry here is a complete compound grind. Extremely freaking important. And it can be extremely difficult. It's real easy to, when you're grinding, to have the same thickness here ish and end up with the same thickness here, and you don't want that. You want a distal taper from the thickest point. Your blade should taper from the thickest point, which is our bolster here. You should distally taper towards the tang and distally taper towards the tip. Now, if this was a full tang, this is just marketing, freaking aesthetic stuff. For a full tang, distally tapered tangs, full tangs, distally tapered. You're always distally tapering your blade, but distally tapered tangs have a much aesthetically pleasing look to them. Thick to thin, thick to thin, thick to thin, you know. So when we get over to the grinder, the last thing we're going to work on is the bolster area. First thing we're going to work on, blade. Secondary thing, tang. We're going to get it down. Do we need freaking 5 inches of tang out here? Absolutely not. We only need it's about 3.5 inches. We don't even need that much. We're only doing like a 4.5, not even a 4.5 inch handle, because we got to take into account that bolster area is part of the handle, right? So right now, roughly, our bolster is like I said, 0.7390 thick. Before we grind it, the actual finger, if I bring it back here, you guys can't see it really.
Yes, I believe he's planning on grinding that in. Oh, hoping to see you grind that in.
Yes. We will be.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna head as soon as we're done marking this, laying this out. We're gonna go over to the grinder and we're gonna grind all this stuff in.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see it as best we can. We don't have the best camera angles over there, so there'll be a lot of, okay, we ground this and then I'll bring it over to the camera. You know, you're gonna see me grind it and then we're gonna bring it over to the camera and show you. I'll just go like that, like here. Yeah, that's what we did. So yeah, you'll see all this. We are 0.8. Now that's where we start to swoop down into our tang and our blade. 0.860. Yeah, 0.860 on either side. Now that's of an inch. We're not using, we're using freedom units here in this shop. So 0.860 of an inch for our length of our bolster. Now, if you want to figure that out, 0.75 is 3/4 of an inch. So 0.80 is somewhere along the lines of, let's see here. I think it's, no, okay. Just under 7/8. Just under. 7/8 is 0.875. So it's right, it's a hair over 3/4, more than a hair. And just a hair under 7/8. So right there, would that be like 11/16? No, 11/16 is right up close to the. No, 11/16 is less than. I'm an idiot. 11/16 is less than 3/4. I'm an idiot. That's what happens when you have to voice your math instead of just freaking doing the math and getting it done in your head and then going and grinding it. Like, I'm doing more here for you guys than I ever do for myself. I will literally not ever use these things, right? And I will literally, and I don't draw center lines. I literally just go in there and grind. And I just freehand it all. Now we do have an angle jig in there that we're using. It's not really that great, but in my mind, it's still free grinding because we're not clamping it down to anything. We're not clamping it to the jig. Yes, it does have an angle freaking indicator on it, but we don't know how accurate that angle indicator is because it is a super cheap Chinesium jig. And it doesn't work for what I need it for, but I'm making it work because otherwise I usually just have blocks of wood that I eyeball the freaking angles on and grind those angles in and then pull the knife through it. With this jig, I can just set whatever angle I want on there and to start with and to get a good idea of what we're looking at here. And then we'll put it on the big magnet and we'll go vertical with it. So we're going to start grinding it horizontally this way, and then we'll end going vertical when we start working on our transitions from the blade into the bolster. Now, we haven't quite figured out what type of handle. I mean, we know it's a hidden tang, but what we don't know is how, what's the geometry of this handle? Are we gonna go flat? Give me a paper and a pen. A pencil. Paper and a pencil. Or a paper and a
And something.
We're highly organized here at Rust Hammer Forge.
Yes, always. Always and forever. Just for you guys.
It's all for you guys. We're so organized that we
Don't
know where
where shit is.
our pens and pencils are, and it's all good.
Here.
We got a pencil. We got a marker. All right,
marker.
That'll work.
For as many pens as I have for work, I can't believe we don't have any out here.
Okay, so we can either go, as we're looking down the blade, we can either have it be square, where it's slightly rounded across the top, slightly rounded. We could go round right here, where it's not completely round, it's slightly faceted. We could go completely faceted, like a stop sign in there, and then that carries back into the blade or into the tang. I'm kind of leaning towards something simple of a design to where we come there's your finger catch, right? Soft transition, handle back here, it kicks back and comes back across like that, something like that. Obviously the proportions aren't great because we need a bigger pommel area out here, you know, to really hold this in your hand. Now this could either be super, like, come here and it be just the same thickness all the way through, and that'd be good. That wouldn't be too bad, you know. Be easy to use. It would still feel good in the hand. It'd feel like basically a large buck handle, you know, large buck knife handle when it was open. But most likely what we're gonna do is we're gonna start here and we're gonna flare out. We're gonna flare this out at the end, coming around with something that looks like that, right? So, and with a big knife like this, I don't necessarily want to make this super round because then it'll want to turn in the hand a little bit. So we have to have our flats in here. We can start to kind of round it off back in here, transition from this flat area to a slightly rounded, more in the back area, in the pommel area. When you start rounding all this to where it, and then we start once it starts coming back into this plane right in here, we can start running it a little flatter. Obviously still keeping the corners chamfered pretty well. And then not only does it's also get a taper. So the top is pretty thick, this is our center line. The bottom right here, it's gonna be tapered a little bit. Because when you close your hand, a tapered freaking bottom piece where your fingers wrap around, it's way more comfortable. Even no matter how thick this is up here on the spine side, if you taper your handle towards the edge side and you kind of just slightly flare it out to match the flare on the top side and kind of make it egg shaped, it fits in the hands. It fits right in the creases of your fingers, and you can really index it. That's all about a good knife, is being able to index that edge. So making sure the handle center line lines up with the edge of your blade allows you to index that blade, to know where that blade is, that edge is at all times. So we're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but we have to think about this. We have to think about this. Now our bolster is here, so that's where the shoulders are. The grippy part, that's our bolster. Our blade is here. Now that I drew that, extended that blade out, this actual looks really good. I'm really liking the way that handle looks. Finger catch, bam, finger catch, bam. Tang is gonna run somewhere around in here. Pin right around in there, give or take. So that's what we're looking at right there. Is tang has to come down quite a bit. The tang's probably only going to be about, we're probably going to cut half of this tang off. So when we're looking at our knife here, we're probably going to come in here right about in here, cut that off, and we'll do that right away. And then we find our center line here. Best way that I do it is I eyeball it. Come back in here, we'll eyeball it. So that's the center line of the blade, but we have to go with the tang. So we're going to come back up in here. And then I'm going to come in here and we're going to mark our angle. That we want to cut that down to. And I don't know if you guys can even see that on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys can.
We can see everything.
You can see it a lot better.
Yeah.
And we may make that tang a little bit longer. Now that I look at it, just a little bit longer. Come back in here. And there we go. So we have a lot of cutting to do. I'm just gonna keep that right there. We're actually gonna leave 2/3 of this tang in there, and we're gonna cut the rest of that off. Let's put some use some actual soapstone here. Ish. This is all ish. Okay. Now, we're not going to have all these lines drawn on there, you know, in soapstone. They're going to come off pretty easily. I'm just giving you guys an idea of what we're going to be doing, and we're just going to go do it. All right. Now, we're almost to the point where we're just going to go start grinding. What we need to do is I don't want to cut this down yet until we get this on the grinder, because this is a really nice nice handle to grind with. If I cut it down, I'm losing a lot of my ability to control this piece. So, and you'll understand it when we get over here and have it, when we have it set up on the jig. We're gonna go start grinding this at probably a 5 degree to start out with, and we'll see where that leaves us, and how thick we are. We want this to be right around, let's see here, pretty thick. So if we go to our handy dandy calculator here, having our spine be at point, let me get all this garbage off of this thing. Clean our calipers. Want our spine to be 0.187, 0.1875 at its thickest. We're at 0.30555. So 0.3055 minus 0.1875 equals, means we have to take off 0.118. Accumulate together. So if we divide that by 2, 0.059. 0.059. We don't got to take, there's not a lot. Not a lot. So let's see here. I think it's 1/64th. No. Let's see here. A little bit less than a 1/16th of an inch. It's not a 32nd of an inch, so it's not a lot. We want it to be 3/16ths. Right in there. So we're gonna head over to the grinder as soon as Sarah gets back out here, and that way she can monitor the comments and we can get going. So I'm going to take you guys for a ride over to the grinding room. We're going to go get all set up, and then Sarah will be monitoring the comment section.
Yep, I'm here.
Well, she'll be monitored on your phone.
Okay.
In there, because that way.
And here's your. I cleaned them off a little bit so they're a little bit better. They're still pretty grimy.
We're gonna go here, take that. That's about where we want this to be. Let's get a fresh belt here.
Oh.
Fresh 36 gritter. Look at your chair. Get our tool rest all in here. Okay, now we're using this nice Chinesium jig, but I can't have, like, I have these bolts to rest on. That's about it, right? So it's still a balancing act. We're gonna put one more of these in here. We're gonna move that one over. And we'll just put another one in there, right there, which we don't necessarily have. Well, we do, but and we are set at 5 degrees, 5-degree bevel right now. We just get a bam to there, and we turn around. We're there. Do the best job we can.
That's all you can do.
Come across. Okay, here we go, folks. Are you monitoring?
I have it on my phone.
Monitoring. What a pain in the butt. So we did order some magnets for this.
Yep.
Magnets are too small.
Super small.
They're super small. I think what I'm going to have to do is we're just going to have to free grind this down
Not
here.
use that.
Not use that.
Oh.
Because that is not making it easier. That is making it 10 times harder. But I do have a plethora of angled pieces here that we can use to do this with. This is what I normally use.
Yep.
Let's just shore this up here. sure you keep it cool. We're just gonna get close to the line, then we'll start dragging it in. They come in on our tip a little bit. See that pattern a little bit when you glint it. Looking pretty good. Woo!
Bless you.
Woo! All right. Bit of that center portion here. We're going to flip our angle here a little bit. And a little more square. A little more blade in there. Starting to get up into our maker's mark. Shadow's starting to come away from the belt as we're starting to get up homogeneous angle from spine to cutting edge, which is what we want. We want to keep this thing cool. This is already hardened, already tempered. Now, we're leaving this. There's always a little piece of me in the back of my mind that says, are we hard all the way through, right? So we're keeping it relatively thick so that if we have to, we can take this back through and annealing cycle, harden it, austenization it, martensite formation, the quench, and then the temper again. We don't want to go complete finish on this until we know that it's all hard all the way through. Because this was pretty thick when we quenched it. So we need to make sure that it's hard. Once we get this thing all ground off, then we can go in here and look with our files and say, okay, where is that? What's that hardness? What we're looking for is anything in between 58 and 61. 58 and 61 Rockwell. I'll be perfectly happy with that. Which, how do we know that? Well, if it's freaking biting at 55 and like scratching at 60, 60 has a range of 60 to 62, 61. And so if it's biting at 55, so it's harder than 55. 55 I think has a range of, it tells us in there. Let me go get my stuff.
Your book.
We can make sure. Any questions?
Nope.
Nope.
I think it's just, we have two people and I think we're the two people.
Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. 60 is 60 to 62 and 55 is 55 to 57. So if it's skating at 55, it's just a V4, skating at 55 and biting at 60, we're right in our range. All right, that's where we want to be. If it's biting at 55, we're no good. We need to go check it. Now we're almost there. We'll get this one side down and we'll check it, but just for shits and giggles. But we can't do anything with it when it comes to running it through an annealing process and another austenization process, so heating it up for quench and letting it soak. And we can't quench it until both sides of this blade are done. Now we don't have to do anything with the rest of it. If we know it's soft, it's soft. The tang can be soft, it doesn't really matter. Blade has to be hard. If it's not where we want it to be, we get the blade equaled out relative to where relatively equal, but it's still thick enough to where it's not going to snake on us when we go into our quench. Make sense? Good. Now from this point on, I'm just going to do a dragging motion. I'm just going to drag it. That looks really good. Almost got those marks down, almost got the maker's mark showing in there. Not too bad, almost there for this size. better. Press marks are almost gone. Almost not even feel those two marks right there. You just barely feel them. You can see we got a nice taper going on that side. Looking really good. What we need to do real quick is we need to move our tool rest in. We're getting to that point where the blade could fall down in the gap. We don't want that to happen. That would be bad, because then you got to take extra time to screw around with making sure that you're straightening everything back out, because it gets in there, it's just going to grind away and you may end up ruining the blade. So make sure that your tool rest is set for the thickness that you are at currently. Almost. so close. We're going to leave that side like that, because we're still going to be going up here like this. So we're going to have a grind where we're coming in here and working the transitions off the blade into that bolster, and those will come out and our maker's mark will get cleaned up. So I'm going to flip flop to the other side. We're going to see about putting you guys on this side of the house. Maybe.
Let's see what we can do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're good. We're good.
But now it's facing towards me.
Yeah.
Let's fix that.
You guys get a little closer angle here too. So that's all good. I'm gonna go check that on the monitor.
I'm seeing it right here. It's looking pretty. I don't know yet. It hasn't gotten that far.
Let's see what we got here.
That's pretty good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good angle for you guys. Not bad, not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, so there we go. Now we're gonna go back to the other side. Flip our block over there to mark our just kind of want to mark that bevel out up next to the edge. That'll get us going. Alright, flip her over. One thing that you probably can't see on here, when I'm pulling this across, when I get to here, I'm putting lots of pressure, down pressure on here, but it's even. As soon as I get about halfway through the blade, I'm starting to rotate my pressure that way and down. So what happens is that's how we start having less pressure here on the back side of our block, more pressure on our front side of the block, and then we start pulling that taper in. So our block ends at a slight angle. Starts parallel and then ends up, that's about the movement you get out of that. Very, very small movement. And of course the angle on the other side helps a lot. It kind of just does it for you. Now another thing we're doing, not just holding this there, I'm pushing, I'm putting a twist. That's why having this long tang is so important. I'm actually twisting it, so I'm pushing the bottom of the blade, the spine of the blade, into that bottom angle of this block and the edge into the belt. Now, if I need more leverage, which I kind of feel like I do, I take a pair of vice grips here, and I put a pair of vice grips on these. This allows me to have a little more, that doesn't allow me to have any control right there. Come out here on the end. Allows me to have a little more control that way. do a push back through. Really turn that blade, that edge into that freaking belt. A little bit of a mark right there we still have to get out. It's got quite a bit on this side to come off. Now we can't go completely off our mark, right? Because this wasn't ground flat when we did it. So we're just kind of using these as guidelines. That's all we're doing. Now that we have these flat, we can read if this is hard right now, we'll check it here in a minute. We can go back through. We can go back through and make sure that our lines are completely centered on what we have ground, right? We're pretty close on the edge side. Pretty close. It's looking really good. It's looking pretty straight. We could afford maybe to take a little bit off of our end here, but what I think I want to do before we get any more into this is still really thick. I'm going to check this for hardness. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our 55. That's hard at 55. Our 60. Now, you may not sound different to you, but it sounds different to me and it feels different. So we are biting at 60. Skating at 55. So we are right in there where we want to be. We're at least 57 or at least 55. And we're at least 60. I call that good. So now that we know, hey, we don't have to go back through all that rigmarole, annealing, which is an entire day, austenization, which is an hour and 20 minutes because you got to wait for or 47 minutes, well, hour and 10 minutes because you wait for it, the kiln to heat up and then 20 minutes of soak, quench, and then 4 more hours of freaking, so you're into this 2 days, 2.5 days, or day and a half, something like that, if you had to redo this again. We don't. This is hard enough. We're going to continue on. Excitement. There's always a chance. There's always a chance that it didn't harden. Because it was either too thick or whatever it was. You know, but we're good.
I brought you water too.
All right. Let's get to clean this up. We're going to go remark our lines real quick.
Oh, there goes my thumb.
Now we don't have to go anywhere. We can do all that right here. We can do all of that right here. Just come in here, mark our lines. We'll go get some more of that layout fluid. It smells like gas outside.
I know, that's what I was thinking. Then I was hearing this weird noise and I couldn't figure out what it was, and the people that bought the property across the creek they're cleaning out their duct system.
Over there?
Yeah. They have the same people that came and cleaned out the school's ducts are over there cleaning out their ducting and heating system and shit.
Why would that make it smell like gas?
I don't know. That's why I'm trying to figure out why it smells like gas. I thought maybe something happened, but it's... There's all the way in there too.
All right, we're gonna get our handy
really bad
dandy
right here,
gauges
though.
here. The drill bits.
Drill bits.
And we're gonna mark this out again. Curious. Real close, real close. A little bit take off, a little bit. That's okay though. That's a good sign. We were pretty close with our rough freaking mark out. I'm gonna set this up here, check our clean that off a little bit. Now, what is our measurement? Remember, we're wanting about, oh, that's not what we want. Oh, that does infractions for me. Dude, this thing's awesome.
It's the best thing ever.
Fractions.
Fractions are amazing.
I don't have to freaking pull out my freaking phone.
Oh, sorry about that, you guys.
All right, come here. This is... That's still measuring 1/4 inch. No way.
Didn't you take stuff off of that already? Yeah, like there's no reason why it's the same.
21 1/28. Oh, that's 5/32 down here. How else if I get it square? 7/32. That's what I thought. We got a ways to go. That's not, we're going to check this against something. Known 3/16. That's what we're going to check it against. Known 3/16. Well, we have a known 1/8 here too. And is this a known 3/16? I think that is known. I think that is 3/16. Better be. That's what I paid for. You know, who knows if this thing's even freaking accurate, to be honest. So
It's Harbor Freight.
it is Harbor Freight. It is Harbor Freight. So this is 3/16. That might be still 1/4 inch. So we were pretty
close.
pretty heavy. So it's measuring 1/4 inch
But not close.
at the thickest, which that's pretty thick for what we want this to be. This is supposed to be 3/16. This 80 CRV. So let's measure it. This is saying that's 25 1/28.
Wow.
Right there's 13/64. I mean, it's at least 13/64 all the way across. Alright. So here's an 1/8. That's measuring an 1/8.
Okay, so it's measuring correctly.
This is not. Well, what's 13/64? How far is that from freaking?
Oh, right here. Your phone's right here.
We're gonna do some
Mathemication.
math lab. Math lab here, guys. You guys didn't think you were turning in for a math lab, did you?
No, it's not math lab. It's mathemication.
I need my ruler out. I can't picture 13/64 for some reason. But what I can do is do this. I know it's very close.
How close is it?
It's very close. So 13/64 is like 0.203. 3/16 is 0.187.
Oh.
So it's very close.
It's potatoes.
Yeah. Okay. So, but we are sitting at a measured of 1/4 inch up here. Right there is 13/64. Right there at that. You know, that might not be a bad idea. It's a little heavy though. You know, it makes
But if you can make it balanced.
makes it really heavy. Well, it'll be balanced.
Your
Right
stuff
now
is
it's a
always
little
balanced.
blade heavy. When we get to everything, I mean, we're really heavy bolster in here. We need to take more off. Absolutely take more off. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to keep grinding on this far side for right now. This isn't the finished grind. These are just initial grinds. So not too worried about it. I like that this projector does it in, except for I know what freaking 3/16 is in decimal points. And if it was in decimal points, I'd be like, oh, that's close.
Yeah.
But since it's 13/60, where the hell does that line up at? What the hell's going on here?
I don't know.
I'm retarded.
I don't know you.
I'm retarded. All right, let's get back to work. Now I'm not doing as much twisting on this, so that's why I don't have the channel locks on there. I'm just holding it. I'm not doing a lot of twisting with it. We have this side all clean now. What we're going to do is we're going to move you guys again, take you for a ride, and set you guys back up over here. I'm going to try and get you guys a little bit closer like you were over there, because that was a really good angle. I didn't hate that. Let's put you guys right around in here. Not a bad angle right there. I want to get these marks out on this other side. Yes, we will do a pattern check today.
Yes, we will.
Almost. I'm going to press into this bottom part of my block a little bit more. Almost there. Just got that little bitty mark right there. We're a long ways from grinding off our maker's mark, so. Ooh, we're almost there. Almost. So close. Man, it's so close. It is so close. Look at that. And you can't even, you can barely feel it. So close. Alright, I'm happy with that right there. I'm happy with that right there. Alright, what we need to do though, we're going to take you guys for another ride, so we're back on the other side.
We're getting adventures today.
Don't get sick. Hope you guys like roller coasters. press on the bottom of this pretty hard. Push back through. Do a little check here. $7.30. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. We are getting there. We are tapered nicely. Real close. Real close. Alright, I'm going to put this back on the end so we can turn the blade side in. And press some more on the top of the block, not the bottom of the block. Sarah, did you share this yet?
No.
Well, go ahead and share it. Come on, that's your job. You have one job. One job.
I know. I'm sorry.
One job, damn it. Looking really good, guys. We're looking really good. Still pretty thick though. I think to get our angle, I think we're going to go to the steeper angle here. almost. We'll finish out this one on this side, and then we'll turn the other side over. Real close, real close, real close. Oh,
Holy shit.
I want to bounce our belt. Almost. You get a little on that tip. A little more on that tip. You can see our angle here. Coming up and over. That was the other side of the block, that side of the block. And you can see that grind line there. You could use mark out fluid on this just to make sure you're getting everything, but you don't necessarily have to. Almost. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, we're so close. So close. That's close enough for that side. Pick you guys up, put you on the other side. Tips are always the worst. Always the worst to try and get that tip thinned out where it needs to be. Without overheating it. That is the key.